Just checking that we do have someone from Surfrider here. Gemma, is Mr. Peter Whish-Wilson with us this afternoon? Not as of yet. He's a very busy man. He's down the back. He's down the back. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, as someone who's carved down the face of some glassy 4-footers myself, it gives me great pleasure to introduce economists, ladies and gentlemen.
Look, thank you very much, everyone. Just following up on what Jeremy originally said, listening to the Premier's comments yesterday about healing wounds. He couldn't help himself though, could he? It just shows how genuine he was, and in the same breath, immediately stuck in a big barb to all those scaremongers who been not so gracious in victory. But what I don't think you realise is that in this debate, it's not easy to demonise your enemy, because I think we're all standing shoulder to shoulder on these issues. Whether you are a traditional environmentalist, whether you're someone who's concerned about health, or whether you, like me, have a business in the area. I found it particularly concerning, the use of that word, because Surfrider Foundation, the group I'm a member of, has spent a lot of time and effort trying to look at the science behind the marine environment. And reading the documents yesterday, they were almost word for word in all 3 volumes that we put into our submission, word for word what we had asked to be done 12 months ago. Literally, from the hydrodynamic modelling through the impact on species in Bass Strait. And, if I'm a scaremonger, well, at least I feel like I've achieved something. Of course, the issue's not that simple. We had hoped that all these things would have been, all the risks and uncertainties that are still posed by this work that needs to be done would have been achieved prior to construction of this project. And I'd just like to say that we are a scientific-based organisation, and we will be looking at it very closely over the next 3 days and making a media release on that next week. Look, just very quickly, as someone who has a business in the area, there's no doubt that, and as someone who loves the sea like I do, there's so much that hasn't been covered by this federal assessment. Very much fine. Would make a good roadie, Kim. There's so much that hasn't been covered. It was a very narrow scope, as you're all aware. I did go to Canberra with a group of people a month ago to meet the Minister and plead with him to do a full social and economic cost-benefit study on this project, to look at all the things that hadn't been assessed at a state level. He was very sympathetic to that proposition. We showed him legal advice on the EPBC Act, and I found it yesterday afternoon, right at the end of the scientist's report, literally the last 4 paragraphs, where it said social and economic. Each paragraph was no more than 6 or 7 sentences long, and every bit of information in those paragraphs had come straight from the Gunns IIS or the ITS Global Report. We had given him the roundtable's cost-benefit analysis and a whole stack of information about the risks, for example, odour poses to tourism operators in the area, all the technical stuff he needed to at least instigate a proper cost-benefit study. And I was devastated yesterday to see that once again, we haven't advanced any more than we were sort of 12, 18 months ago on all the same issues. Now, everybody here individually now is going to have to decide what course of action they're going to take in the time to come. But I would like to say that reading through one of the major investment bankers who covers Gunns, reading through their comprehensive research report last week, and 7 different times through the report, they listed the key risk to this project as being the wood supply agreement. Okay, there's no doubt, and this is what we said to the Minister, that this is a joint venture between the Tasmanian public and Gunns. These trees are owned by us. Whether you derive value from walking in the forest and have a love of nature, or whether you care about getting a return on your assets, your economic assets that you own as Australian taxpayers and Tasmanian taxpayers, this is an issue that is definitely part of the war. that is going to be confronted by this pulp mill in the very near future. So whatever you think about the mill being approved or not being approved, an EPA, forestry being exempt from an EPA, all these issues tie into this same project. So yeah, please keep marching on. Thank you.